This is the road that goes from Dąbie to Koło. Little detail of the Holocaust, not very well known here. Did have quite an important effect though on the deaths of a lot of people. We have a stream here, it flows into the Nerem river, and the railway line which led from Koło to Chelmno and then on to Dąbie is just approximately 400 meters up there, and here there was a bridge. This railway line was built sometime in the 19th century to supply Dąbie with whatever it needed, and in 1939, as the Polish troops retreated from this area, they blew the bridge, which was directly in front of me. Now, but the bridge has since disappeared again. Now, the railway line itself, I've hunted around for it in the last day, and I found very little in the way of remains. But here we can actually see the railway embankment going across, and the bridge was down there. And the bridge was repaired in the summer of 1942, around the end of July, beginning of August. So from then on, people could be brought from Koło to Chelmno by train. Until that time, they had to get off somewhere just up there, and then they were taken to the palace at Chelmno by lorry or on foot, depending on the circumstances of the day, if transport were available or not. It's hard to believe it now, but this bank, which I have in front of me, was once the embankment of the narrow gauge railway which took people to the Chelmno death camp. And down this road here, for example, in September 1944, very large amounts of people came on their way to being killed there. This is the railway line, what's left of it. I'm unfortunately standing on a pile of manure at the moment without realising when I stood on it is a pile of manure, and I think I'm going to have to come down here dressed slightly differently in order to film what's there. But on that way there, the embankment actually does still stand, and further down would be the bridge. So this is the narrow gauge railway, the embankment of it. I'm standing on it at the moment. It's probably the dividing line between two fields, and there's the way to the end. It's just been new trees growing here, and I think I'll walk somewhere else, because here it's full of insects. No manure, but full of insects, and tree stumps as well. Having just covered myself in mosquito repellent, I've got, at least there's one there who managed to get me. I don't think I've ever put so much mosquito repellent on in my life. I feel as though I've been bitten all over, and I've completely failed in my task which I set myself. I'll come back here when the sun's out and I've got my body completely covered. So this is what I think is called original research. I've attempted to locate the position of a bridge, and I think I've located where it was. Don't think there's much doubt in that in my mind. My attempt to actually photograph it, however, has failed. It's only about 8 o'clock in the morning, but because the sun hasn't come out, when the sun comes out the mosquitoes go to sleep. And I think I've been bitten all over. I've got nettle stings on my legs and oh, it's quite painful. And what have I achieved? Nothing. I couldn't have just achieved by standing on the road, to be quite honest. Anyway, that is the problem. That's what happens when you try to learn things. Not like the desk-bound historians who just sit in their own offices copying other people's books. At least I try to do something. This is the railway embankment from the southern side for the narrow gauge line that led from Kowo to Dombie. I was here yesterday. I'm now making a second effort to approach it, but more sensibly attired. See the stream below us? And here we see the embankment has no longer here. So I've made all that effort yesterday to try and approach from the northern side and getting bitten and standing in manure and all sorts of other things. I see today I could have come this way and there's no problems. And there's a bit of bone. Here was the bridge. The bridge stood here at this point. So the bridge would have been built, I suppose, around 1915. It was blown up in 1939 by the Polish army. It was repaired in the summer of 1942, and probably destroyed again around 20 years later when the line was finally taken up. See fish in the stream, and this is where the bridge was. Point yesterday, what happened to me with all the mosquitoes is a point which the poor people who had kept in that mill overnight, it was no doubt in the summer months infested with mosquitoes, being next to water. Though the water was quite quickly moving, the mosquitoes don't like that. And we see the embankment on the northern side on which people were brought.